Namaste and welcome to Dragonfly Cookery and Knives. I'm very excited with this video because this video is a result of your requests. Some of you have left me messages on my YouTube channel, and some of you have left messages on my Facebook page at Blue Dragonfly Trading Post requesting that I do a comparison of the Work Tuff Gear Sada Kukri with two of the top brand knife makers out there that are making kukris. One of them being Cold Steel and the other one being Condor Tool and Knives and their kukris. So I decided to do two videos on this. One just concentrating on the comparison between Sada and the Gurkha Kukri by Cold Steel, and another one comparing Sada with the kukris offered by Condor Tool and Knives. So without any further ado, I'm going to give you the dimensions on the Cold Steel Kukri, give you a little background on Lynn Thompson, the designer, and then get into the comparison between the two blades along with the dimensions of Sada Kukri by Work Tuff Gears. So to start off with, this is the Cold Steel Gurkha Kukri. It is no longer in production right now. Cold Steel unfortunately has sold, and Lynn Thompson is still staying on with the company to give his input and guidance, and hopefully will continue to design some great products for the Cold Steel brand. However, as whenever there is an acquisition of a company by another company, they often go through the books and find out what their top performers were and what their ones that weren't in the top performance, or where there may be too many that are too close alike, and so we'll just downsize it to only do one. And apparently that may be what they came up with when they were considering the Gurkha Kukri. So they will be bringing this back in production. Back in the last year, I was under the understanding that Lynn Thompson was intending to bring it back with another upgrade to steel to an 02 tool steel from an 01 tool steel. However, what they've decided to do is go to a super steel, which is the 3V steel. Now, Cold Steel is making the Master Hunter out of the 3V, which turned out to be a great success, and that's being manufactured in Italy. So when they bring this back, it's going to be the Gurkha Kukri Plus, which has an extended handguard. To kind of give you a visual show of what that might look like, I'm going to take out one of their machetes, which is called the Kukri Plus machete, and the plus is because it has the handguard. And just as you see that handguard as part of that steel, so will the handguard be on this one. And they came out with it before, so there's plenty of pictures out there where you can see it. Now, I'm not real certain if it's sharp all the way to this point where the handguard comes down, or if there's a little flat area that isn't sharpened like it is on this Kukri Plus, where you could put your index finger around the guard and be able to get a good purchase for whittling and finer tasks. So that is, I'm not really certain because I do not own a Gurkha Kukri Plus. I only own two Gurkha Kukris. I prefer those because they are more like a real kukri. So this has a 12-inch blade, and the handle is 5.25 inches in length. It has a V grind that comes down to a secondary grind, which is also a V grind. The blade thickness goes from a 7.94 millimeters and distal tapers to the tip to a 1.50 millimeters thick. The weight of the blade alone is 1 pound 4.6 ounces, which is 586 grams. In its scabbard, it weighs 1 pound 13.5 ounces, which is 835 grams. The overall length is 17 inches. It comes with a Kydex-like scabbard, but it's not Kydex. It is probably a polypropylene type of hard plastic that has been trademarked by Cold Steel as their own proprietary product, and for good reason. A lot of the designing that happens at Cold Steel happens in-house. And when they come up with a design that works really good, like the Triad lock system for their folders, or in this case, the Secure X scabbards that they use in a variety of different knives that has an excellent locking system, they have gone and taken it and trademarked it to protect their intellectual rights on it. So there's nobody else that puts out the exact type of scabbard as this. Now, a lot of them come close to it and have excellent locking systems, especially when they're using Kydex, which will be demonstrated in this video. But that is an excellent one. As you can see, I can shake this up and down real vigorously, and this kukri isn't coming out, and there's nothing else. Like, I've taken this strap off to show that it doesn't hold that blade in. To take it out, you merely take your thumb and push, and it comes right out. Put it back in. You wait for, you push it in until you hear this. That click lets you know it's locked in. Has lots of different lashing points on it. You can lash other knives to it, like I've done, to make a two-knife carry system. You can lash pouches on it, or you can lash it to your backpack or gear. So there's a lot of different options there. Has a dangle system with a corduroy Cordura belt loop that is, generously wide, has a belt snap and also Velcro, and then you have this this band with a snap that isn't there to hold the kukri in, but to keep the handle from slapping next to you when you're walking and hiking up a trail. And you can even use a lanyard and do a leg tie, and that will even secure it more. So excellent thought in design there. Now, a little background about Lynn Thompson. Lynn Thompson formed Cold Steel back in the 1980s. He was a martial artist who became very frustrated with knives failing on him in his martial arts practices. He went to the drawing board, came up with the Cold Steel Tonto and a couple other knives, approached Comelius Knife Company, who was the first ones to start producing his blades. Now, but this is before video, so in his advertising he would do a lot of punching through doors and car hoods and so forth, and take pictures and post them in the magazines. People either liked him or hated him, and that was because he would often state in his advertising, "I make the best knives you will find, the best knives ever." And of course, there's a lot of custom makers that would firmly disagree with him, and a lot of customers also. But also there was production companies that were like, "Wait a minute, our knives are pretty good. What are you talking about? The best knives out there." Well, Lynn Thompson was also one of the first ones to do video presentations of his blades, taking them through torture tests and doing demonstrations and showing them. He was the first YouTube video maker of knives before there was a YouTube. When I first started collecting his knives, and as I was buying them, I remember in the catalog it would say, "Request for a VHS tape on the torture test of the knives," and you would request it and they would ship it to you for free. Then when CDs came out, he started including CDs with those demonstrations in with his catalog, and then eventually DVDs when DVDs came out. Now you can see all his demonstrations on YouTube. And a lot of YouTubers like me will do our own torture test and put the knives through the paces. But he was among the first, or if not the first, to start doing video demonstrations of the knives. So hats off to you, Lynn Thompson. And that pretty much gives you a good idea of what is involved with this particular kukri. Now let's get into the Work Tuff Gear's Sada kukri. Now I am the designer of this, and I know real well what my design intent was, what my philosophy of use is. I'm a guy who's been collecting knives since my youth, and I have been using knives throughout my lifetime. I'm now 63. And when I started this business, it was because of the love of knives. And I love all the knives that I've collected. Some are better than others, but when I started getting down and designing, I tried to translate what I liked best in other knives, and also what I enjoy using and what suits me for my philosophy of use, and try to translate it into the design that I do. So, a little background about the kukri. I am an avid kukri collector and lover, as you probably have figured out by now by watching my videos. And so I wanted a kukri that was true in a kukri design and shape and length. I wanted to keep it roughly around the BSI range of the MK5 of the Cold War era, which was from the 1950s on up to roughly the early 1990s. And their blade lengths would be about 11 inches to 10 inches. Sometimes a little over 11 inches. And I love the gentle curve to them, not that strong elbow curve to it. So I put that into translation into this blade design. Now it's got a V grind, although on Work Tuff Gear's website you will see them call it a high saber grind. Arguably it could be, I guess, but I call it a V grind because it starts from the spine and tapers down to the secondary bevel, which is a convex edge. 90-degree spine you could throw sparks off of. Has a distal taper, and it goes from 5.84 millimeters thick at where the handle is, and distal tapers down to a 1.41 millimeters. The blade depth is 2 inches, maybe 2 1/4, I think. And the overall length is 16 by 9 inches. The blade length is 11.3 inches, and the cutting edge, because there's an integrated finger choil, the cutting edge from this point to here is 10.7 inches. The weight of the blade alone is 652 grams, or in other words, 1 pound 7 ounces. In the scabbard, it weighs 820 grams, or 1 pound 13 ounces. It is made out of SK85 high carbon steel, which is a Japanese steel, which would be equivalent to a 1085 here in the States. The handle material is G10, and it has a nice light texturing on it, which makes it grippy. Has a blue liner, and the handle design is as important as the overall blade. If you fail with the handle design, what you end up with is you might have a really great knife that chops really well, cuts really well, but when you grab it and you hold it, you hate it because the handle hurts your hand, or it causes hot spots, or it rolls. It doesn't function the way it's supposed to. So when I sat down and designed this blade, I put as much thought, if not more, into this handle than I did into the blade. And for the reason that I wanted something that would be would not create hot spots, would not fatigue the hand, and would allow a variety of different purchase comfortably where you might orientate your hand on the handle in its use. So if you're choking up and you're doing some fine whittling and fine detail work, you could come up to this finger choil, locking your fingers behind the finger guard, and you could index and have really great control over this knife. If you go back because of the swell in the hook, your hand isn't going to fly off this handle and cause the blade to go flying somewhere and hurt somebody. You could also wrap your pinky around the bird beak and get even further extension on and leverage for your chopping. So there's a lot of different ways that you could hold this knife and still feel comfortable using it without causing injury to your hand. The scabbard is outstanding. It's Kydex with different lashing points on it. It is ambidextrous. You can change it from left hand to right hand carry with a Cordura belt loop with snap and Velcro closure for easy take on and off of the belt. It does not need any straps over here to help lock it into place. It is very secure and strong and will not come out of this scabbard. In order to deploy it from the scabbard, you simply put your thumb and push a little bit, and it opens it up and allows the blade to come free. And when you put it in, it's equally easy. So all in all, it is a very excellent package. Kydex G10 and SK85 steel, great combinations. This is a blade that you would not have to upgrade in the slightest bit. If you want to add anything to it, you can add it, do like what I've done with this one, where I've taken another Work Tuff Gears knife, which is the Mini Tayel EDC knife, and attached it to have a 2-knife carry system. And you can do the same thing with the Cold Steel, like I did with this, the Drop Forge Hunter. I attached it using these Velcro straps and feeding it through these slits. I was able to attach it and have a 2-knife carry system. And what's even better about this one is you can take this off by undoing the straps and carry this independently. So you have 2 knives carried together as one, and yet you have 2 knives you can use independently, which is really great. So both do an excellent, outstanding job. So in conclusion, which one's better? That's a hard question. One thing that this has that this one doesn't have, and that is it has a full exposed tang. And that full exposed tang has an integrated finger guard, it has the belly swell, and it has the hook. So if these handles should fail in some way, they break, they chip, they come loose and fall off, you could still wrap this with cordage and you would still have a relatively ergonomic handle that you could use in a survival situation, and it's full tang. So you're going to have that full tang strength all the way. You could use it without the handles. Whereas, which makes this an outstanding survival tool, whereas the Cold Steel has a full tang that is encapsulated in the Kraton handle, and basically you have a stick tang that goes all the way, and I think it ends right about here behind the lanyard hole. So you will still have that lanyard hole, but you have a straight tang that you would have to wrap with cord in order to use it. You could use it, but it's not going to be maybe as friendly to the hand or as secure from flying out of your hand as it would if it had the handle in it, or as the Sada Kukri. That's being really nitpicky. Now, end result. Both of these are top shelf, top excellent quality kukris. Now, this one coming out with the 3V steel, and when it's re-released, I saw the price on the website was in the $700 range. Now, granted, it's 3V steel. It's a super steel, and it's a lot of steel on this blade. $700, I don't know. Even if they bring the price down, at wholesale price, we're talking about $500, maybe. So we're going to have to wait and see what the price range is really going to be when they release it. But go to the website, don't take my word for it, and check it out yourself, and you'll see they're stating that the Gurkha Kukri Plus is going to go for $760 or something like that. Where the Sada Kukri is being offered for $225 with free shipping right now. And so for value for the price, this is definitely a lot more inexpensive than this will be when they roll it out with that 3B steel. But both of these kukris are outstanding kukris, and in comparison of the 01 tool steel, I think they're both in par, and they're both, you know, if I were to do the best 10, these would be tied for number 1. And I'm not just saying that because I love the Siddha Kukri and I designed it. It's because this is my favorite kukri for a long time as a production kukri, and I am very pleased to say that the Siddha Kukri could come and contend with it and be on equal standing with it. Now I will follow up with another video where I will field demonstrate both kukris along with the condor tool and knife kukris, so you guys can see how they perform and make your own opinions. I hope you liked this video. I hope it was informative enough and wasn't too long. Please like and subscribe on my YouTube channel and leave any comments there, as well as visit my Facebook page at Blue Dragonfly Trading Post and leave any comments there as well. And by all means, please visit my website at dragonflykukriandknives.com. Thank you very much for watching. Namaste, and God bless. Stay safe and healthy.